Hey, this video is just going to be a little check-in of where I'm at, and so that way y'all know what to expect with the YouTube series, because things have changed in my life within the last month. Basically what I wanted to do is a check-in for exercise, nutrition, and mindset, and then work. So more importantly, I've gone back to my office job. I still podcast every Monday. Wednesdays I have off, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays I'm at the office job, and then I have my virtual clients in between there, and so I check in with them throughout the week. I took another one-to-one client back. I was going to wait a little bit longer to do that, but she was a good fit for me, so I just felt like I was ready to do that. So with that being said, life is getting busy again, and so I'm not going to make like what I'm doing workout videos. I'll certainly talk about what I'm doing in my videos and kind of update you along the way, but as far as the demonstration goes, like, you've got the kind of postpartum recovery movement, you've got the kind of body weight, and then we've got the returning to exercise 15-minute to 20-minute series. From there, honestly, it's going to be based on the individual, and even those progressions are going to be based on the individual of how fast we go through them and what we choose next. So I just don't feel like me filming my workouts is going to be beneficial for anybody because I get them in when I can, and then I take care of my baby. So that's what's going on there. Exercise wise, I'm doing the 3 times a week full body. Right now it's a unilateral routine, so I'm just kind of finding some muscle imbalances. What I'm finding is I'm really off balance, which is a common thing postpartum, just because your body shifts so much with pregnancy. So working on unilateral and just kind of seeing where my strength is at. In my last video, I talked about how to choose the right exercise program, and I wanted to do something new because I just didn't want to be able to compare myself to prior to pregnancy. But honestly, like, I did something that I've done before quite a few times because I already know the routine and the structure, and that way I'm not having to watch the videos and try to figure out the programming anymore. So 3 full bodies, and then I'm doing a strength focus session for my glutes, because right now I am figuring if I'm going to be eating the 2,900, 2,800 calories that I'm eating, I might as well grow a butt. I've already had a butt, and I've already had pretty thick thighs, so I figure why not just emphasize that. And then I'm really working on my core, where I can have a little bit more structure at a higher body fat percentage. So figuring, because I like a lean, athletic look. I like when you can see my abs. Like, that's just what I prefer for my aesthetics, and I don't know if and when I would get back to that, because I'm going to be breastfeeding until indefinitely. She's so cool. She's just hanging out in her stroller looking outside. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to go into a cut, or I mean, I can go into a cut whenever, but when I would choose to go into a cut, like, it may be a year from now, it may be 9 months from now, it may be 2 years from now. And even then, like, when we had a second baby, like, I might not enter a cut for a while. So I'm kind of figuring, if I'm going to eat this amount of calories, and with my training schedule, I'm going to focus on building a butt, and then I'm going to focus on building my abs. I already had the core structure of the abs, but I want them to be more visible at a higher body fat percentage, because that's where I'm at. And so that's been really beneficial for, like, my mindset wise of, like, focusing on those goals as opposed to, like, getting smaller and getting leaner. And like I said, nutrition wise, I'm at 2,800 to 2,900 calories a day. It's so hard to eat that many, but I do it, and because I'm hungry, and I have 1 to 2 LMNTs a day. I have a ton of water. My nutrition coach changed my macros quite a bit, because for me it's really easy to get protein in and just go for it, but the fats and carbs, like, that's fine. But we adjusted where I think I have 300 grams of carbs and only like 160 of protein, and then I forget what the fats are. So it's pretty challenging to hit those macros, and it's been really challenging this last week because my significant other's been out of town, so it's been like me one-on-one with the baby for the majority of the day, except like when she does go to her grandparents. So nutrition wise, it's great that I can eat that much, but I'm just hungry all the time, and it takes a lot of mental energy to make sure I'm prepared ahead, especially like going back into the office job, of making sure like I have to have lunch at least and 2 snacks at least, and then I have backup snacks at work too. So something to consider there for you postpartum ladies that are going back to work, who are breastfeeding, like you have to keep up that nutrition. A lot of times the supply drops when we go back to work if we're breastfeeding. And part of me wonders, like, it's, because we're not so like on our baby anymore if we're not exclusively breastfeeding, like maybe there's like that hormonal connection. But part of me wonders if it's nutritionally just harder to get in. I'll have to look that up on the science of like why. I'm sure I knew it at one point, but at some point you learn so much and then you have a baby and you forget everything. So nutrition wise, there's that. Mindset wise, body image, checking in there. I think honestly kind of changing my goal and focusing on like, okay, if I'm gonna eat more, then like let's build a body has been really helpful. So again, I'm not so focused on the aesthetics as I once was. Of course, every day I still want to go into a cut, but then I like think about it like, okay, if I can, but here's your trade-offs and here's your potential trade-offs, and I'm still hungry. So like my cut would be 2,500 calories, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. The hardest part right now is just kind of feeling insecure about being a mom and like finding new groups and new friends and whatnot, because like I'm in a different phase of life. So that's a little bit challenging, and there's a lot that I'm realizing I felt like growing up that's now coming out in adulthood. So that kind of sucks. And I've talked about that on another video, so I won't harp on it too much. And then the other mindset thing that's really hard is not doing it all. So for example, when I was like in full gear, I was going to my office job in the morning, 3 days a week. And then in the afternoons from like 1 to 6, I would train clients. Mondays and Wednesday mornings, I would train clients. And then Monday and Wednesday afternoons, I would have my one-to-one virtual calls. So essentially from like 7 to 6 every day, I was working. And it was okay. Like I did get burnt out at different times. And so then I had to change my schedule and fluctuate a little bit. And then as my pregnancy progressed, I backed off on my afternoon clients because it was just really hot, because I was pregnant during the summer in Arizona. And then after a while, I backed off on my morning clients because then it was like, okay, I'm like very pregnant, and actually a couple of them were pregnant as well. So it was all kind of good timing that they were going to have their baby around the same time I was. So started to back off training wise. And so I have to be very careful with going back to work and whatnot, and starting to kick back up on the one-to-one virtual and then having a baby, is that I'm not continuing to go, yes, I can do that. Yep, I can do that. Yep, I can do that. Because it's very important to me that I spend time with her. And even like if I'm looking at my phone, I feel guilty because I'm not engaging with her. Like if I don't engage with her all the time, like I feel guilty, which is not, like you literally cannot engage with your baby all the time. It is very exhausting and boring, to be honest. It's hard because Michael, my significant other, actually had to like tell me like last week he is leaving. He's like, hey, like, we're not doing this anymore. Like we're not gonna like hustle culture, essentially. And that's not the terms he used, but you ready? So yeah, we're not gonna like hustle culture anymore. Like I'm not gonna try and do all of the things while I have a baby and be present for her and still have a relationship. It's not what I want to do. And when I end up saying yes and yes and yes, I feel guilty and I regret it, and I just feel overwhelmed. So I try and nap when she's napping on the days that I have off, or like, in the afternoons, just because of the sleep schedule is getting so spontaneous. Some nights are great, some nights are terrible, and that's okay. Apparently that's normal, according to ChatGPT. So we're all learning, and it's going well though. Other than that, so yeah, mindset stuff is really just like trying not to take everything on again, and really saying no, which is hard, and realizing what I can and can't do. Like some virtual clients, like ones that just need coaching, like that doesn't take the amount of time or like energy that it does for like the one-to-one. So I'll have to be really cautious of how many one-to-ones I take. But yeah, right now we're just hanging in there. There's not really anything else. So I'll just give an update as we go, as calories go, as body image changes, and keep on keeping on. So if there's any videos or questions you guys have, be sure to put them in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, so that way you get updates on when I release content. And we're droolers. don't even care. You know, this funny thing is, I got a funny story. So I started taking baths with her, just because I was like, man, I want to take a bath. I was like, oh, why don't I just take a bath with my baby? Well, it doesn't work out as well as you think in your head. And we were sitting in the bath one day like this, and she had a little fart, and in that fart was not just farts. So she pooped all over me in the bath. But you know, and honestly, I didn't even care. I was just like, okay, we'll just empty this tub and we'll have another, we'll refill it and take another bath, huh? It's so funny what you think is gross. Like if somebody would have told me that I had a kid, I would have been like, ew, you know, but then it happens to you and you're like, okay, well at least we got that out. Like one less cranky session, huh? We didn't have to do our Shakira hip work. That's what we call our hip work. So, all right, we'll talk to y'all later.